After spending over 88 million on ads and auditing hundreds of accounts, we've seen everything. You'd be surprised how many brands still make these rookie mistakes. So today we're going back to creative basics. Let's start. First, gonna talk about formatting options. The formatting options are super important because they limit the amount of positions your ad can be displayed at. With that, your ad cost might go up if you have less options, because the more options you have to show your ad, the better CPMs you'll get. It doesn't necessarily always mean this, but these are some rules that we follow because we tend to work with higher spending accounts. So even these small percentages that might not be a big deal when you're spending a couple of $1,000s a day adds up quite a bit when you're spending 50 to 100K a day. Because everything is mobile first, I like to optimize everything for a square 1 by 1. That way we have the most placements as an option. But as well, because we do have an option of uploading secondary versions of that same creative, we also like to make a 4 by 5 so we can cover better landscape videos. And the reason why we do that is so those videos don't get cut off. When it comes to duration, length is technically 240 minutes. Practically, you're never going to use that. So I'm going to talk about things that I like to use in practice and not the things that are limited by the platform. Generally, with the length of the videos, I like to have almost all of my videos at 59 seconds or less, because that way I have the most option in showing that ad, and that is going to give me the best prices. With 1 minute, I have enough time to have 5 seconds for an intro and hook, 10-15 seconds to build a rapport, showing and explaining the problem that we understand the customer, explaining how the product works, showing them some happy customers, and then having a call to action and giving them some kind of incentive for them to click. You can always do a longer version, but when you're doing the Trojan horse strategy, you're completely fine with adding like 30 to 60 seconds of pure value and then adding 15 seconds at the start at the end for the intro and call to action. When you're building out the script, I also like to have a trimmed down version that's 30 seconds, so you might not show all of the elements that you used at the 59-second version, but still this short version might end up being the thing that people have enough patience to watch until the end, and that ends up being better. When it comes to the 15-second version, depending on the type of the product you're selling, you can still run the 15-second for prospecting even, if you can explain the value or give them a good call to action that is self-explanatory in that 15-second time frame. That's going to be ideal. But in most cases, if you're selling a service that is a little bit complex, just 15 seconds is not going to cut it. But it is really good to have that as an option for remarketing, because you can achieve top of mind by just hitting them with a couple of really specific words that you know they're going to remember. Awesome. So if you like this video so far, please drop a like and subscribe. In the case that you would like us to look at how we could help you figure out an ad, or you're not sure how to use some of these scripts for your business, go to digitalrocketads.com and apply for the no waste audit. We'll break down your entire funnel, website tracking, CRO, UX, Meta and Google ads, emails, everything. You'll see exactly where you're leaking money and what's blocking your growth. It's fully guaranteed, so if you don't get any value, you don't pay. As simple as that. I wanted to give you some practical tips that I just see people that are maybe new in digital marketing or don't have as much experience make the same mistakes over and over again. It can cost you money, or it can just cost you a lot of time. The first thing I would like to say is that when you're building a thumbnail or any other type of ad, you really need to think about your target customer. The size of your text and the quantity of the text is going to play a big role. Just because you can add a lot of text doesn't mean you should, because I often see cluttered ads that you cannot read even. And that's one of the biggest problems, because you are paying for people to see that ad, and if they cannot read what it says on it because you added too much text and it's too small, you have a problem. So that's one of the core things I would look at first. So the second thing that we've noticed in a lot of different accounts is that they don't differentiate between if the target audience they're going for is like 50, 60 or 20, 30. Most of the time that we analyze the ads, everybody kind of keeps the font size the same. We have 3 or 4 different accounts that are hitting specifically people over 55, and we use big ass fonts. Why? Because people need to be able to read it without glasses. So you need to have a logic and merit behind every single small thing you do. Every single small inch and every pixel is important. So if you don't think about everything, you're just going to waste a lot of time and a lot of potential customers. Then adding your logo. I often see people adding their logo to the video, to the image, to whatever. Don't forget, on every ad, you have the name of the page, which is already usually the logo. So if you add another logo, you have the name of the website on the bottom, you have the logo on the video and then another logo at the page name. So it's ridiculous. Don't stress about branding and stuff like that. It's an ad. Don't brand your ads, especially if you're a small business. You're not that relevant. Then when it comes to building videos, people just put whatever thumbnail they want. I know that a lot of people have autoplay, but still those thumbnails can make a big difference in the amount of people that click. So developing thumbnails, figuring out what's going to have a good click rate is going to be super important. And if you just spend all of your time recording videos and cry about how nobody's buying, it's probably because nobody's actually watching. Audio quality is the next thing. Now, the main thing is you want to have something that people can hear, proper, clear, easy to hear through a shitty mobile phone speaker system. If you don't have that, people are just not going to be able to hear you and it's not going to work out because they cannot accept the message you're sending. Now, with that, the next thing I would look at is captions. Most people, they either have audio on or they don't have it completely on. Even though you have to have good audio quality, still a lot of people, 95% of them, are not going to have audio. So when you're doing your ads, you need to add captions. And you saw all of our ads have big captions on it because most people are either on their commute to work or at their job or somewhere where they cannot actually listen to. So that's one of the things you need to think about. And with that, additionally, you need to think about the caption size. You can use the caption size differently compared to what I said with the text size. You can make some words bigger, smaller, different colors, so you can make sure that the person, even though they might even not be reading the captions fully, they still read the specific words you want them to read. This is a really good practice for you to guide the eyes of the viewer when they're looking at your ads, because having the control over where their eye focuses is going to be a massive skill for you when it comes to developing ads that actually convert. And number 8, being just too salesy. A lot of people are feeling comfortable in front of the camera and don't know how to act and think that they have to bring this cosmic energy back to life. And I just think that that's kind of bullshit. Really, the simplest thing is you need to talk to somebody like you usually do at work. If you help them, consult them, just do that with the camera and do that on the ad. People simply are going to give you money if you're going to give them something of value and if something that is worth their money. So the fact that you're selling something already has to have that included. Otherwise, I see people kind of feeling bad when recording ads or feeling bad that they're asking for money from their users. I just think that that's completely wrong, and you have to have a good pitch but not too salesy that people are put off by it. The last couple of things I see people often forgetting is to have a call to action. I like to have a couple of them. It's usually, let's say, 2, maybe 3 in a 60-second ad. So depending on what you're selling and how long the call to action is, you can fit in 2, maybe 3, at a minimum 1. But I often see people forgetting to add that in ads. And the last thing I like to add is urgency. So for example, if you're selling a limited service where you cannot have 1,000 clients, you're only limited to like 20 in capacity, you can mention that in ads. So giving them a call to action, please apply now. We're only limited to 20 slots. We operate by first come first serve basis, something like that, because that is going to then instinctively give the person that's actually interested a drive to do the action you require from them as fast as they can. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And if you have a business that's running ads, we can go in and do a full business audit, find any bottlenecks or profit leaks, and give you a roadmap on how to solve all of them. The link is below. Thank you for watching.